Welcome back. Welcome in to the Lions Share podcast. The Lions are 3-1 headed into the bye. Happy Victory Tuesday to all you shareholders out there. They defeat the Seattle Seahawks, who they had not defeated since 2012. They finally got the monkey off their back. We had an electric game on Monday Night Football. It had a little bit of everything: turnovers, lots of yards from both teams, lots of points. You know, we thought the history might be, the trend might be bucked. I was completely wrong. Andrew with the high scoring prediction. Congratulations to you for getting kind of close. And the Lions put up 42 in this one and head into the bye pretty strong. So wanted to open it up to you guys. First of all, boys, happy Victory Tuesday to you as well. 3-1 into the bye. How do we feel?
Feel better than 2-2.
Nice.
Wow, quick and to the point. Feel great. They showed the signs of life on offense that we've all been waiting for. Got to see a little bit of Tim Patrick and kind of the long-term plan for him. And seems like, again, we talked about it a little bit and we complained about it, but the bye week's coming at a perfect time. We've got some key elements to the team that have unfortunately didn't play, but I feel great. I'm like a 9.8 out of 10 right now.
I'm right up there with you, my good friend. They faced that adversity. That we knew they were going to be without the All-Pro center, Ragnow. They adjusted pretty well. I say this, guys, I'm happy. I was watching that game. I felt confident. I felt good. It felt like last year. I was fired up. Like, I'm not going to lie. You know, I'll admit it. Like, the first couple weeks this season, we talked about it. It's just kind of hard to match the feeling that we had last year with that tremendous run. I'll be honest, I was feeling like a little bit like I lost some confidence into this team. I felt like they were a solid team, but it just didn't seem like they were meeting my expectations that we had set so high. Yes, sir.
Question for you on that. Do you think the uniforms kind of inspired some of that confidence back into you?
I think that's part of it. You know, aesthetically, I liked that they rebranded the outer edge as well. You know, keep that camouflage up. And the blacks were nice. You know, Mitch and I, we talked about it in the group chat. The blue helmets were a little bit on the fence, but I felt like as the game went on, I really adjusted to them nicely. I quite like them.
I agree. I think what saves it from being like the full Panthers look is the black jersey, black pants, and then you go the Honolulu blue helmet. So, yeah, they definitely grew on me. They just look like so dirty, so clean. I very much like those. It would be incredible if I don't think they would do it, but like if they played a home playoff game in those, I feel like the dome would just be unreal. And they did a little bit of a blackout, leave some black towels or black t-shirts on the seats for everybody. That would be insane.
Turn the lights off completely. Play by candlelight. No, but turn the lights off completely every time the Lions score. Just full lights off. I know I'm not a fan of that. In the past, I've said my words about that. You know, watch out for those with seizures. But yeah, I mean, Super Bowl, bring out the black uniforms. I don't know if you can even do the alternates in a Super Bowl. I don't know the rules on that, but hey, obviously they're pretty solid in them. They kind of bucked the bad from the past. You know, I think the people, you know, the same old Lions fans remember the black uniforms weren't so good to us in those years in the past. But hey, it's a new chapter. But yeah, it's not a new chapter in the Seahawks Lions. That was a high scoring affair once again. Totaled way over the over-under, which was set at 47. Crushed that. Lions almost got to 47 themselves. The Seahawks dominated in yards. They dominated the time of possession. They dominated first downs. And the Lions had way more penalties. But the Lions won the turnover battle. So the Lions won the game. Dare I say it, there was some complimentary football out there from the Lions. And part of the reason the time of possession was so lopsided to the Seattle Seahawks was because the Lions had some quick drives, some quick scores, which they're not always accustomed to doing, but some big plays out there led them to having some shorter drives, and ultimately, you know, they end with just shy of 400 yards on offense, 389. But Seattle had over 500. For a minute there, it felt like we might be watching a Lions game from the years past. You know, in the first couple of weeks, the defense has been pretty solid. They had a few guys out, but man, were you guys surprised to see over 500 yards? Yikes.
It definitely, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when I called in a couple of years ago and I just was kind of like, yeah, you know what? This team is going to be fun to watch. We're not going to win a lot of games, but it's going to be fun to watch. Or more so last year, but yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but again, like maybe the NFL is just going to throw Seahawks and Lions on every single year. They almost have to at this point. You're just going to it's fireworks every time. It's just so fun to watch for obviously us coming out of a win, but it's for the casual NFL fan that's just tuning into Monday Night Football has to be a blast, especially when your other option is Titans and Dolphins. Woof. Also, stop doing
Oh,
two Monday night games.
yeah, the doubleheader's not the overlap just doesn't work at all. It's such an awkward overlap. Like one starts 45 minutes before the other one. It's just awkward.
I also hated it. I don't know if you guys use the ESPN app. Does not work fluidly on some TVs, and it's
Oh,
really
it's
just a
bad.
pain, especially when you got the old puke fest starting before, and it just kind of dominates what ESPN wants to show you. Had to switch TVs to figure it all out. That's ugly.
Shareholders out there, you need to get like a streaming service like YouTube TV. ESPN's just not it. It's just not it. ESPN Plus might be better. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, geez, the Lions went up early. We talk about this a little bit more in depth here, but the yard, if you look at just the stat totals, it's pretty remarkable what the Lions won with the time of possession at 25-35 in favor of Seattle, and the yardage 516 yards from Seattle. But they only put up 29 points, which is kind of a dichotomy there. And the Lions put up 42 on only 18 passes. Well, 19, sorry, excuse me. Jared had 18. St. Brown had one. A beaut, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about the offense yesterday in that game against the Seahawks. Obviously mentioned at the top they didn't have Ragnow. We were thinking that was going to be the approach, that the Lions would sit him down, and they did put Ragnow down for the week and give him that double week off to get him healthy again with that slightly torn pec, I think. But the offense, man, I was really happy to see what we saw out of the offense. I don't know if do you guys remember many negative plays? I felt like they were north and just constantly moving forward, always moving forward, didn't get behind the sticks. And I think that's the key to this offense, is just don't get behind the sticks, and you could see how good they could be.
Ben, I think you nailed it too. Like, not only were there not many like negative plays, but when you thought Jared Goff was going to take a sack, I don't know where he got this as of late, but I don't know if you guys saw that footwork where he just kind of deked and ducked some guys. Didn't really do much, almost just sidestepped him and then got it out of there, which was incredible to see finally.
A little twirl in there as well.
He looked agile. The only opening drive. That's the only thing that comes to mind. That opening drive was just not good and massively disappointing when you take the ball that they never ever do and you lay an egg on the first drive, and you could tell that like Ben Johnson thought he had something cooked up for the first play, and they panned to him and he was kind of like so. But outside of the first drive, the offense was obviously firing on all cylinders for the entire game, except for
Yeah.
the last drive.
Thanks for bringing that back up, Mitchell. Added to the counter, another first drive, not no points.
Yeah, do they have to do that for the rest of the year now for you to be right?
I think they got one more one more week that they can disappoint us.
1 for 4 right now, right? As it stands, is that correct? Tough. Yeah, we've got a lot of work to do on all of our predictions. Mitch, I think you had most forced turnovers, which I think they're doing okay. I think they're middle of the pack on turnovers right now. And then mine was lead fourth down, a higher conversion rate on fourth down. I don't know how they're doing on that. They didn't have any fourth downs yesterday. That was uncharacteristic of the Lions. They had 2 punts. They punted on that first drive, like you talked about, Mitch. And then we didn't see Jack Fox for a long time. It was like when they went to go punt on that 3-and-out drive they had in the second half, I almost forgot that Jack Fox was on the team. And they didn't have many third downs either. This was surprising when I looked at these stats. They were 3 of 6 on third down, which it's not terrible, but it's not great. And only to score 32 points and to only have six third downs on the whole day is pretty remarkable. It just shows what they were doing on first and second down, not to not get into the third and long and not have many third downs in general. And they only had 2 punts on 11 drives. 11 drives, only 2 punts that first drive, and then in the second half. And then they were 5 for 5 in the red zone. That's probably the biggest takeaway for me. That's something this team has struggled with in the past. And to go 5 for 5, that's got to do loads on their confidence. Didn't have to bring out Bates at all. And Bates had a couple PATs that were a little too close for comfort at times, but he ultimately did the job. But yeah, they didn't have to bring him out. And then they gave up 3 sacks, probably some of that in respect to not having Ragnow out there shifting Glasgow over and then having Awashika out there to fill in. And Dan Skipper, I think, was out there for a little bit as well. A couple other guys rotational in. But 3 sacks on the day, that's a little bit uncharacteristically high. But Andrew, overall, I thought the offensive line played a pretty, one of their best games of the year, minus the 3 sacks. That's kind of the downside of it. But they play outside the 3 sacks, I thought they played pretty well.
Yeah, Jared Goff still took some hits, which is obviously what you want to stay away from, but I thought they did a pretty good job for being down an all-pro, right? You get away from him, the guy who's in constant contact with Jared Goff there too, and that's the day he goes perfect. Kind of speaks volumes, but let's not forget David Montgomery knows how to shed a tackle or two, eh?
Among other
Not
things.
just shed a tackler, like undress tacklers, emasculate tacklers, turn men into boys.
That run, it wasn't a run, it was a pass, but that run after catch, my God, I got up off the couch. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what your guys' celebrations were like, but I was fired up after that. I was about to buy the Angry Runs t-shirt, which
I was screaming.
I tuned into Good Morning Football specifically to make sure Kyle Bryant gave Montgomery that scepter.
Who else can be an appropriate winner of that? My God.
Well, I don't know if you saw who else was up for grabs. Kenneth Walker was on there. And let us not forget that Spider-Man Avenger type move he pulled to roll over Anzalone there. That I've never seen anything like that. That happened so fluidly.
It was kind of cool. Not gonna lie, it was kind of cool. But how are we not blowing that play dead? My God, the guy's motionless. He's not moving. There's no forward progress.
Ben, you might remember the player's name. Mitch, you too.
Oh God, I know where you're going with this.
The Texans game. Oh man, it's just still haunting. I never remember who it was.
It was that. Isn't it number 28 for the Texans? That running back. The guy's escaping me. But it's crazy you bring that up because I had that exact thought today because I was looking ahead at the Lions schedule and I was looking at the teams and I saw the Texans on there and that's the first thing that came to mind. That and the fact that old Jim Schwartz in his what did he do? He threw a challenge flag on a play, right? He threw the challenge flag on a play that the booth had to review, and so they didn't review it. Isn't that am I misremembering?
I get lost on some of the old dark days. To be honest,
Those were dark.
No, you're remembering 100%. They ran it in and they challenged it, and it was an automatic reviewed play because it's a scoring play. But since he challenged it, they couldn't review it.
That was the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Just charge a timeout.
Touchdown.
Just charge a timeout. What?
That was the most ludicrous play of all time. Everybody gave up on it. So that's apparently what spawned everybody grabbing a ball and immediately sprinting towards an end zone.
I think it was Justin Forsett who was the running back there. Yeah, those were the days back in the day when I think it was the season before that. All scoring plays didn't get used to not get reviewed. It wasn't automatic like it is now. Us old folks will remember that stuff. But yeah, back to Monty. My God. The tandem duo, Gibbs had more yards on the ground, but, Monty with 40 of them on that long run, including a touchdown later or earlier, and then Gibbs had 2. Yeah, and I texted you guys about it when Monty scored on that touchdown run early. He just straight up willed his way into the end zone. The blocking wasn't there. He just made it a key that he was going to get in the end zone. It was incredible. But
Yesterday
Gibbs was
was like a
solid too.
microcosm of like the entire of like last year, where it was like you just pound, pound, pound with Monty, and then all of a sudden you do the lightning with Gibbs, which is almost like last year. It took a while for Gibbs to get going, and it seems like that's kind of what Ben Johnson wants to do. He just wants to wear the defenses down with Monty, and then all of a sudden you hit him with speed and Gibbs, and it worked perfectly yesterday.
Yeah, I would say they 100% solidified themselves as the best backfield duo in the NFL this year.
Without a doubt, I was looking at their yards before we hopped on here, and I think they're like within 15 yards of each other. They're almost dead even. They're and yesterday, Gibbs had 78 on the ground, Monty had 40, and Gibbs had 14 carries, Monty had 12. I mean, it's about as 50-50 as you can get in terms of the carries, obviously, but Monty with a few more through the air than Gibbs, didn't have any through the air, but all purpose wise. But yeah, I mean, it's show me a running back duo, especially with that offensive line, who's going to get more yards than these guys. The running back kind of a dying breed out there, and we've got two of the best on this team, so we're fortunate there. And of course, we had Jared Goff going Goff, however you want to say it. Everyone's saying it a little differently. Mr. Perfect himself went 18 of 18, most ever, but not the record. A little confusing there. I'll say this to the TikTokers out there who might find this podcast not too bad for an Iowa quarterback. And if you get that joke, you know that video. You know who you are. Obviously, he's not an Iowa quarterback. He was a Cal quarterback. But, yeah, I mean, comparisons to an Iowa quarterback. And then he comes out with a game like this. Goff plus St. Brown, their passer rating, the perfect 158.3. Jared with 292 yards passing, 7 receiving too as well. Of course, you can't forget quarterback and the wide receiver number one. And Dan said it in his press conference. He kind of had a return to center game against the Cardinals, and then we saw him kind of progress forward. And now it feels like, okay, this is the Jared that we need. Mr. Serviceable, clean. And Jared was so fired up in his press conference. He wanted to play again today, as in Tuesday. I kind of agree with him. I kind of wanted to record the podcast right after because that's how fired up we were. What'd you guys think of Jared? I mean, what else can you say about 18 of 18? Obviously, not a ton of fireworks in there, but just an all-around really, really solid day.
Yeah, but you know what? The few plays that we talked about, like the spin and the dart, we haven't seen anything like that all season. So, yeah, I just think protecting the football has been his biggest thing, and just getting some of those shorter passes, those shallow passes, and get him comfortable. I mean, yeah, like Ben, you said it all. So I mean, that's the Jared Goff we need if we want to make a deep run.
Yeah, Mitchell, not only get like Jared Goff comfortable with it, but the entire offense just gets rolling. And they were doing that a lot this week. A lot of first and second down, 2-3 yard passes, get those guys in stride and just let them do something with it. Let them make a play with that ball. So it just really gets the offense running. 3 yards is as good as a 3 yard run, right? So it just gets the offense going, and then they can come back and hit you with a 3 yard run on the next first down. But Goff, I didn't even realize that he was, 100% in the first half. I thought he had for sure missed at least one in the first half. So I think he'd even said it after the game. He wasn't sure if he had a perfect one. He knew he was pretty close, but wasn't sure if he was 100%. Crazy that Dan didn't give him that game ball. That was funny to see that afterwards in the press conference too.
Hey, he gave him one today. He made up for it. I saw his press conference today. He gave him one today, rightfully so. Yeah, I mean, if we can just clone that, if we can clone that version of Jared Goff and make him do that every game, it's curtains for any other team out there because he did more than enough, didn't do too much, didn't do too little, and that's the secret to this offense. And that it just felt like Ben Johnson called a almost perfect game. We'll talk about his one blunder in a minute here, but I mean, I felt like it was dynamic. It was a good balance of everything. Seattle didn't have an answer for it almost all game, only 2 forced punts, and the Lions put up 42 points on 19 passes and 28 rushes. The production ratio to how many plays and how many in the yards is just incredible. To put up 42 points and not even have over 400 yards, it's almost unfathomable. But Ben Johnson, a perfect game from him, minus the one blunder.
I don't want to like spend too much. I mean, again, you can't do a ton other than like, do we talk about the blunder? Do we want to spend more time on that? I just like because he did like the offensive play, the game calling was so good. The play call was so good throughout the game, and then you just get to the end, and we talk about this all the time where he gets so conservative before he needs to, and then in your own end zone, you want to do a 15-step drop up 2 scores with 2 minutes to go. I don't get it. And kudos to Goff for at least trying to get out of that safety, because and doing what he can. But I just that one to me was a huge head scratcher. All you have to do, like the one time you just need to play not to lose, is give Jack Fox some breathing room, boot it down the field, make him drive 70 yards and score, and then do it again in 2 minutes. I could not wrap my head around that. And Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were just like, whatever. Like, I don't get it because they were up 2 scores. It was very odd to me, and I just couldn't. It didn't make any sense.
Well, Mitchell, to that point too, on the punt, they almost returned it. I mean, I know there was a hold on the play, but he was turning the corner. He almost got away. There was one guy to beat.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys think Dan was just trying to test the defense there? I'm just throwing ideas at the wall because I can't figure out a reason.
No, I don't think there is a reason. I just think it was Ben Johnson getting cocky and just trying to. I mean, they explained it right, where it was basically like, in theory, you get a free pass play because the 2-minute warning is going to stop the clock regardless. So if you feel like you have something dialed up, which to me is just a first down. I mean, for all intents and purposes, a first down ends the game right there. So if you
Right.
feel like you have something dialed up with the most clutch first down person on your team, the Sun God, then do that and run that. But again, that's like a quick drop back, something that's out of his low risk. Like I get the premise of the pass right there, but the again the deep drop back and like the clear out, and the guy was open, so it's like we should recognize that the play call itself, the play design, I'm sorry, itself was solid, but the call and the situation was suspect in my opinion.
It's hard to justify. It's hard to think of a reason for all of those things and think about the risk reward there. It's just odd. It just felt like, to me, we've seen this team have to win a lot of games, by closing it out on third and fourth down to win games in the past. And it feels like they try to get cute, or they almost forget, like, oh, we are actually a good team on both sides of the ball now. Like, we don't need to, like, infamously, we all remember, I think it was against the Vikings when Penei Sewell goes out for the route. Like, they had to do weird stuff like that sometimes to win games, to throw everything but the kitchen sink, or literally the kitchen sink, at them at times to win games with just some funky trick plays. So now I feel like they didn't have to pass there regardless, but it just felt like they're like, okay, let's close it out like Lions style. And they didn't need to necessarily do that in that instance when you're up 2 scores just before the 2-minute warning. And then of course there's 2:01 on the clock. So it's right before the 2-minute warning too. Of course they tease us by saying that he got out, which he did. I get that he tucked the ball back and all that, but that was really odd to come back from commercial and have him say it was a safety.
I thought it was right away, to be honest. Like they gave him that, and I was like, well, the end of the football was definitely over the powder there. So I guess I'm a little confused. So I wasn't like shocked by it, but I wasn't. Yeah, I was angry at the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was more confused than angry.
Oh, thank you for admitting that.
Well, that's because you had just woken up, right?
It was a time travel, sir. No, who knows if I was sleeping. Time travel was involved.
My God, I can just see the blurry eyes coming up and seeing that play happen in front of you. That's terrifying. It's nightmare fuel. That's enough negativity. Ben Johnson, hell of a game. He got a game ball. He deserved it. And he dialed up some beauties, which one of them we talked about a little bit. We can talk about it now. It's quote unquote Alcatraz. I don't know if you guys knew that play was called Alcatraz. Some people comparing it to the Philly special, but if you longtime Lions fans remember, the Lions actually ran that play before Philadelphia did. So it's credit to them. Credit where credit is due. The Lions came up with that play, not Philadelphia.
I would like to give, I just didn't want to forget this, a special shout out to Dan Campbell, who now has 27 wins and 27 losses. No need to focus on the tie in there.
Hmm.
27 wins, 27 losses. So if we come out of the bye and put the Cowboys on SmackDown, he's going to have a winning record as the Detroit Lions head coach.
I love that little nugget right there. I need a little. Yeah, they need a little extra fuel coming out of the bye. Good teams
Can
coming
I-
out of the bye.
Can I get a
High-level analysis.
thank you very much?
There you go. Had to scroll for that one. My bad. But yeah, I mean, what an incredible play. How about that throw from St. Brown, though? Probably better than any throw that Jared Goff's ever thrown, to be honest.
That was really pretty. It
He
was,
was-
right in the bucket.
He was slinging that thing no matter what, too.
Oh, yeah. You could tell
And
from
I-
the get-go.
Oh, yeah. And I love how, like, Goff came over to the, like, Dak film and goes, lay hands. And I watched the replay and I was like, he really did, like, wait till the last second to flash his hands out there.
Yeah, to make the linebacker, linebacker's face guarding him, he's going to watch his hands and put his hands up. He put him up too late. The ball gets through. But Jared with some soft hands there, trots into the end zone. Beautiful little route there from wide
He
receiver
was
number 5.
hyped, too. Hyped.
Yeah, I think
And-
he threw that ball further than he's thrown any ball this.
Thank
That,
you, Ben.
Sorry.
Thank
yeah,
you.
that ball may have landed in Comerica.
I wanted somebody to get a track on that ball. Where did it land? It just went into the darkness.
Some poor kid's just celebrating and turns around. Fadoosh.
I mean, it went into sheer darkness. I could totally see that hitting some nachos.
Oh, some nachos, some poor kids in CTE in protocol now. It's not a good look. But did you hear what Dan said about it today?
No.
No. He's like, I was just making sure. He was worried that it hit Rory. He didn't want it to hit Rory.
Nice.
Which, by the way, this is a total side point, but did you guys feel like they showed a lot of Rory on the broadcast? Like, I don't remember seeing so much of the mascot. I feel like I never see the mascot.
You only get so many moments to shine, man. I guess I
Sorry,
didn't
maybe you
really
were
notice
sleeping
it. I
during
was
that, but-
sleeping it, but damn, I don't really notice it.
I don't think they ever. I just feel like they never show Rory. Like, it's not a big mascot. I feel like it's not compared to like some of like the Colts guy. I always think of the Colts guy and the Jaguars guy.
The Colts guy is funnier.
It's
got
the
the
Duval
belly.
Jag that gets
It's like
me.
sticky.
I don't know. It just felt like Rory was, I don't know, more apparent yesterday. Let's talk about Goff to Waymo on an. I mean, the whole nation are, if they didn't already be put on notice, they were yesterday with Waymo's speed. I mean, my God, he was trotting from the 30-yard line.
And if we're talking about kids spilling popcorn and nachos, I don't on his leap there. I don't know what happened. I think he took out a couple sodas on that kid, and that kid lost everything.
Mitch, did you have something? Sorry.
No, I don't remember.
How about his ode to Calvin Johnson by dunking on the field goal post?
That was he dunked it with authority.
Yeah. I kind of forgot that was a penalty. But worth it, though. I mean, it's Calvin Johnson's, pride night or den night, so, I don't know. I thought it was worth it. I probably wouldn't have said that if Bates missed that extra point. But a little extra, a little test for Bates. He's going to have to do that eventually. Yeah, I mean, it was just an incredible day from the offense. 93-yard scoring drive early, 58 of them on the ground. It was just a thing of beauty. Almost a perfect game from yes, Andrew.
I just rewatched it. He starts high stepping from the 30.
That's what I said, my friend. That's what I said. He's literally from the 30-yard line. Like, that's just how fast he is.
Legit 30.
I was gonna tell you guys a couple of nuggets. I don't know if you guys caught it from Dan. I think today. First, talking about baseball and the Tigers. There's a good nugget in there about how Dan, the last time he played baseball, they were like in the playoffs. It was like 6th grade, and he hit a grand slam to win the game. But he carried his baseball bat to first base and gave it to the first base coach, and like it nullified the home run, so they lost and he was out. And like that's
Oh.
what made him hate baseball.
That is the most Dan Campbell story ever. That's a Lions story too. That's something that it's an equivalent to what would happen in a Lions game with some of the refs. But wow.
So that, and then he said at the end of the half, if they would have gotten a little closer, he was about to let Bates try a 73-yarder to end
Yeah,
the
because
half. That would have been amazing.
they could have accepted that penalty and been at like the 35, the 40 maybe. Yeah, that would have been crazy.
That's crazy. I'm actually really that play specifically. I'm very upset. Why did we not just attempt anything?
I don't
Hook and
know.
ladder
They were
again.
they were so
Why not?
far away.
A hook and ladder, JMO running free. I mean
you
JMO
gotta
was in
leave a
play
few
on all
plays.
times.
You got to leave a few plays in the tank.
Jared doesn't have an arm for that and anything deep, but yeah, I don't know. You don't want if he would have went out there. What if he threw an incompletion? We wouldn't be talking about his perfect game right now. He'd be 17 for 18.
I would rather have seen a play at the end of half there.
Like Mitch said, if they're a little bit closer, but they're so far back, even with that penalty, it's just too far.
They were literally in no man's land.
Like even Dan Campbell, Mr. Aggressive Gambler himself, was like, "Nah, take it to the lock." It did suck though that Seattle was going to get the ball out of the half. I think that changes your out. I see where you want to take advantage, seize that last couple seconds to try to make something happen before the half and really step on their throat there, but. Yeah, it's just it was a tough spot to be in. If the score and this landscape were a little different, maybe. Let's shift to the defense. They didn't have Brian Branch. We thought we might be getting him back. Then he comes late onto the injury report with an illness. Barnes was out obviously long term. Davenport out long term. Iffy now on the IR. So a lot of key elements out of there. But you still got the names out there like Aiden out there. I think he had 10 or 11 pressures yesterday, 3 QB hits, no sacks from Aiden. But
he's on
3
a
other
different
guys.
level right now. He is on a different level right now. He's a freak.
Yeah, and he needs a little help, which
he does need help.
Yeah, imagine if you can keep help over there for him. My goodness. Do
Yeah,
you want to
if
bring
he's-
up James's numbers now?
Oof.
No.
Okay.
What is it, 29?
Hold.
Well, how about some good stuff? DJ Reader got a sack. Well, that was nice to see. The
Big
boy
fella.
Yeah. It's been a while since that interior has had an identity. Obviously, McNeil has been there, but McNeil has not had any help from anybody. You know, it was such a rotation last year. It's good to see that interior D line get some production. I'd voiced that. I didn't know if Aiden could get the production that he had been getting the last couple games without Davenport or somebody at that caliber on the other side. It was nice to see the interior D line step up and kind of make amends for what's going on that other side, which is not a lot of production out of James Houston and others. But Rodrigo got a sack.
The lady
Reader with
killer.
a sack. Yes. McNeil and Levi sharing a half sack, so total 3 sacks on the day for the Lions defense. And a lot of QB hits and a lot of pressure on Geno at times, which was necessary. He did find a nice groove in the second half, which was why they got over 500 yards. I don't know, Andrew, if you caught it right before the half, though. That defense was so strong against the run. Right before the half, they had only given up 6 yards rushing. It was incredible.
I did not see that stat. That's almost as impressive as Denver's -7 passing yards going into half.
Oh my God, who could forget? We were talking about the Lions defense rushing, the rushing defense. They only had
Were they
Seattle
out there
only had-
yesterday?
Yeah, they only had 6 yards. The Seattle only had 6 yards almost going into the half, and then they got a few more right before the half when they went to miss that field goal. But yeah,
Sorry, I meant the second half where they out there.
I know.
Kenneth Walker, listen. Kenneth Walker, and maybe it's just biased because he just pooed all over the Lions. He should be up there in conversation for best backs in the NFL based on what I saw yesterday. He had some angry runs as well.
Fire up, dog.
Fire up chips?
Yeah.
¿Por qué?
Was he not?
Ooh.
Go a little south, man. Go a little more south.
Just straight down 127.
Yeah. Green and white, baby. I
It's
think
gonna
you're
be
thinking
really,
of...
what makes this even worse is that you're looking this up to prove us wrong. And it's going to just get...
You mistake proving you wrong with just settling my face. Just getting everything.
Yeah,
I'm
Kenneth
thinking
Walker.
of Thomas Rawls.
Oh,
That's
Thomas
who I'm.
Rawls. You're thinking of someone completely different.
Yeah, but
Oh.
also went to Seattle. Thomas Rawls.
Thomas Rawls tackled that kid in high school. Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Now we're getting off key. Let's keep it moving.
Oh,
I
come
don't know.
on.
I need to hear more. That's kind of a big deal, I think.
It's a huge deal, but it's not that big of a deal. Stole a purse from Soaring Eagle. Sorry, Thomas, if you're listening.
that's right.
Didn't mean to bring that up, but it's true. You did it, so it's your fault. But I will tell you guys, tackling him in high school, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, like this dude is gonna be playing on Saturdays. Like wrapping around his legs in high school was like one leg was like a tree trunk.
Wow. Wow.
That's talking. Playing against them. Also played against Andrew Wiley, who won a couple rings with the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right. Yeah. No, that is true.
Andrew, did you play against anyone playing on Sundays?
Scott.
Probably a lot of them,
Ace.
dude. Honestly, but I don't want to dox.
Too many
them
to
here,
name.
So we'll keep them.
Yeah.
We'll keep them silent.
I appreciate you letting me have my moment.
But to your point, Mitch, about Seattle and Kenneth Walker, I think it's just a product. I don't know. Maybe this is just
Fire up
my
chips.
opinion. Yeah. CMU legend, Kenneth Walker. I don't know. Maybe it's just that Seattle's like kind of a smaller market. West Coast, they don't get as much playing airtime on the televisions. But
Especially
I
not
just
for
feel,
us, right? Like,
right. I feel like Seattle just as a whole, like JSN, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith, like those guys, like they've actually got a lot of weapons on that team that I feel like
Yeah.
doesn't get talked about enough.
yeah, can I bring up something a little mean right now? And I know I'm probably taking away from time in other segments. Listen, your body is your body. I don't body shame anybody, but did you guys watch Mike McDonald at the halftime? Did you see his halftime interview?
Ooh, I was walking out the door. I did not.
Is this the Seahawks coach?
Yes.
Matt Smith?
I don't know who this guy is, dude.
He was Michigan's D coordinator.
I did not. I had no idea who that human was.
So you watched it, Andrew?
Yeah, nothing notable that I remember though.
He's in shape, but also has like boobies.
Well, dude, that's genetics, brother. Come on now. I didn't
Is
notice it so much. I noticed it.
I could be. That's
I
probably
was
one of the
looking at
meanest
his
things. I
face,
just
Mitchell.
blew my mind because, like, you see him and it's like, all right, the dude's in shape for sure. But then he was giving the halftime interview, and I'm like, he's got a couple cones up top. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways,
I was looking
No,
at the eyes.
I think we should body shame more on this podcast, actually. I just feel like he's got a dumb face.
okay. Well,
he's got a forgettable face.
I was trying to be funny. Ben's just being mean.
What, doesn't this remind you of like the Eli Manning face a little bit?
I like the guy in the background.
the little guy. Oh yeah, that dude's a meatball.
That's a perfect circle.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to find a nice chest shot for you here. I see what you're saying.
You
can
know
see
what
it.
I see what I mean? Like he's kind of built, but they're kind of pointy at the same time.
TikTok's gonna love this one. This is what we talk about when the Lions are going into a bye.
He's got a good profile though. I don't know on that profile. He's got a handsome profile, but I think the
does.
problem is his profile's good, but then when he turns head on, his head's like an anvil. He's like a hammerhead shark.
I did not have that on my bingo card that we're gonna compare faces to an anvil. That's a
Shout out Joe Buck. I think you just quoted Joe Buck when Goff caught that touchdown pass. He said, "Did you have that on your bingo card?" So Joe Buck, Ben Fox's inspiration.
Call me Ben Buck, Benny Buck. Could be a part of that family. Kerby Joseph, let's talk about that INT. I know it kind of was inconsequential. Like, really, even if the Seahawks scored, they probably weren't going to come back and win.
I don't think that was inconsequential at all. I think we were talking about how the game felt like it was going on forever. I think that was a huge relief. This is his third of the year. Kirby's a turnover. Andrew, do you want to talk about your favorite Lion?
When does this guy not come up with an interception in a big time situation at the end of the game? I mean, whenever you're thinking he's not even on the screen half the time he's making these interceptions. This one was the exception of it all. But I mean, the acrobatics of it all. We got to get a jersey, a hoodie. We can't get a real jersey. I feel like it's too much for a grown adult. This guy's good, and I hope he stays for a while.
Andrew, let me drop a stat on you. Did you know that the Lions are 9-0 when Kerby has a pick?
Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. He seals games, so that makes sense. That stat plays perfectly. No, I had
I was
no
trying
idea.
to get you to say it. Obviously, you're not looking at the document. I was flashing it bold on unbolding it for you. I was trying to give you one there, Andrew. I was trying to give you one.
Nope. Well, I'm
9
still
and 0.
listening.
He has no clue where we're at in this Word
You
document.
think I follow this thing? You're crazy.
Yeah, he's the baloney slinger for a reason. You don't sling baloney by following bullet points. Heavens no.
Got it. Fourth one down.
Oh,
Isn't that
thank God
crazy?
He found it.
Isn't that a crazy stat though? That I mean, he's only been in the league a couple years, and they're 9-0 when he gets a pick.
It's crazy.
I
He's
don't
the end zone
understand
defender.
I like that too. He does seem like a superhero. He got odd fashion
does.
choice, and I don't understand him when he speaks, but I like him as a player.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the best description I've heard all day from the Lions share. Yeah, it was just incredible handwork to keep that ball off the turf. That was remarkable. I was watching the replay on first replay. I was worried about that getting overturned, and then I saw it, and I thought, oh, well, trust him.
Skills.
How about Jack Campbell's forced fumble? That I could watch that infinity amount of times. That was incredible. That's some old school hit right there.
Jack Campbell officially always has to play in black uniforms. My God, that looked like a different player. I will say
big.
it's nice to have Anzalone, but yeah, he looked big.
He looked big. Yeah. I agree. I'm with you 100%. Love to see that. I think everyone's been waiting for Jack Campbell to kind of have one of those moments. That felt good, and I am with Andrew 1,000%. He looked physically dominating in the all black.
In terms of PFFs, I mean, Jack Campbell right up there is number 6 on the defense for the Lions with a 71.5 overall. Really solid in coverage, a little less in the tackling. Mitch, you want to talk about the tackling at all? I mean, we sound like a broken record
like
here.
over it. Like there are times Carlton Davis had not Davis. Was it Davis? Someone had a great open field tackle, and
There's Amik Robertson.
Amik Robertson, yeah, he had a great open field tackle, but like sometimes the tackling is just so piss poor. So I don't want to take a ton of time on it, but like AG, dude, like teach the boys something. I don't understand.
I can tell you this, man. If they all just tackled like JRM, Jalen Reeves-Maven, like Jalen is probably a sneaky best tackler on the team, coming from that linebacker position. He is solid.
If we're going to talk about tackles too, the DK Metcalf keeping him out of the end zone, you didn't have to tell me. I didn't have to look at the jersey. I needed to know nothing. I knew immediately who was making that tackle. That guy is a torpedo for kneecaps. I mean, Dan Campbell says eat kneecaps, and Kerby Joseph takes it literally.
Matt Stafford knows.
Yeah, that's true. A dirty player. But yeah, I mean, it's a glaring issue in the open field. It's to the point where if you're sitting on the couch watching the game and you see him drop it down, a check down there, and you see one or two defenders going towards him, you just know they're not going to make the tackle on first contact. You know that gain that should only go for 3 yards is going to go for 8, 9, 10, and maybe a first down. And then it's just disappointing because you just know what's going to happen.
Also, a little scary. The like long hook and ladder kind of thing they did. It's like they know that the Lions defense swarms. They're gang tacklers, right? And that's kind of alarming to see. I hope not many other teams pick up on that.
Yeah, that was tough because that was a long third down where the Lions had gotten the Seahawks behind the sticks on second and first down, and then that came back. That was a gut punch for us fans, shareholders alike, but also that defense. That was just debilitating. And I think they ended up no, they maybe didn't score on that drive, but there were a couple instances where it was tough all day long to keep that defense to get some stops. And part of the reason they didn't get a lot of stops was because they had a lot of penalties. Seattle had, I think I got it in the notes here. They had six first downs off of penalties that did the Seahawks, and the Lions had a total of 12 penalties. Terrion with a couple, some other
No,
folks with
you sure?
penalties. I know, I know,
I think Davis and Terrion both had 3 each.
all for first downs because they're PIs and
Yeah, it
illegal
sucks.
contacts. But I feel like, do you guys feel like that was more of a reflection of the crew that we had?
Terrion's sticky. Like I know we've talked about this, and that's a Ben Johnson quote. Like, dude, you have to make some adjustments at some point. Like, you can't be all over guys all the time. It's been established that they are going to call you for this. Like I don't know if it's the coaching staff at this point. You'd think AG could do it given his player history, but obviously the game has changed. I mean, Carlton Davis is one of the best man coverage guys in the league. So I don't know. I think maybe Carlton Davis has to like take him under his wing a little bit. He needs some help though. Like he has got to adjust his game to avoid some of these penalties. Also, I can't tell if it makes me irritated or if I like it. Most of the time, it makes me laugh. Every time Terrion gets a penalty, he's like this.
And do you see him pointing up at the
Yeah,
jumbotron?
every single time he's smiling. Like it just what can't be me.
There were a couple, yeah. I love it, but I hate it. Like I love the physicality that they're playing with, but
He'll
you just
figure it
know
out
that.
long term. Like I think that's what'll make him like. But like there are going to be savvy quarterbacks. Like Joe Flacco is the king of underthrowing deep balls and like getting PIs. If Flacco is still at quarterback when the Lions travel down to Indy, like I'm gonna if I he's probably gonna pick on Arnold the whole game, and I wouldn't blame him. So he's got to make some adjustments pretty quick here because he's gonna get targeted.
Yeah, that's the worry. In a game that's closer, in a game that means more playoff wise, those are going to be crucial penalties. You can brush them off a little bit yesterday with a win, but that's going to be needed to be ironed out if you're going to go deep into these playoffs, and teams will exploit that, a rookie corner, and it's a glaring issue. I don't want to put too much on it right now. You just hope that it gets figured out, and bye week here, and then they come back and they play into Dallas, so you hope that gets ironed out. It just seems like it's a little bit slower than maybe we wanted or anticipated, but it is only 4 games in. We got to stay grounded with the guys. It is only 4 games. He's playing well. He's way too physical at the point of attack, always too at the point of the attack. But yeah, 38 first downs yesterday for Seattle. That's just I keep going back to that number. It's incredible. It's an insane number to see, and
Pretty
especially with
gross.
the
For a
spread that
losing team.
the Lions did win by. Yeah, for a losing team, and only 29 points to a 42 on the other side with numbers nowhere near that in terms of production. But yeah, I thought they played well. Played really well in the first half. Just the second half, it felt like they turned back the clock and we were watching a game from last year. Just so many things that we've talked about and touched on in the past with that defense. I'm just going to chalk it up to the fact that it was Geno Smith and the Seahawks, and they just know they have the number. It's a different head coach, but it doesn't matter. It's the same old Seahawks, and hopefully this is the Lions riding the ship for this matchup going forward. Oh man, we're getting long here. There was a lot to talk about. It was an exciting game, probably a top game of the year in terms of the NFL. I would say it was well received by a lot of folks. Referees were a point of emphasis for a lot of people on both sides. That the Seahawks had that fourth down that they got where they call offensive pass interference. I thought that was the right call, and the Lions are going to get that called against them every time. I don't see how you can have an argument for that based on how the game had been called. That's going to be a penalty, and it should be. It's offensive pass interference. It's very, very clear one there, but a lot of Seahawks fans butthurt over that one. Special teams, we touched in it. Bates scared us several times yesterday, but was true every time. And we touched on the elements of the game. The jerseys, the black jerseys were solid. Don't know. Mitch, do you know? Do you remember? I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. Do we know if they're going to bring those out how many times this year?
Thought it was two, but I can't remember when else they would do
That's
it. I mean, I would
that's.
hope it would be at least two.
I was thinking it was two or three. Andrew, do you have any intel on that? Do you remember in our off-season talks how many times they were going to break out the black alternates?
I think it was just the 2 times, but I mean, I'm assuming they're only doing it in prime times as well. So
Yeah.
probably like a Thanksgiving, we might see those blacks again.
Ooh, I don't. I feel like Thanksgiving is when you definitely stick with the classic look.
You think?
Do
You
they
just-
still have the classic look
Yeah.
with these new uniforms?
Oh, I think the new uniforms are classic look.
I was with Mitchell on that. I think we went back to the more classic.
I'm a classic man.
But I'm not like the 1950s ones or whatever they were rocking for the longest time that they have been like the with the.
No, I feel like those aren't in the repertoire anymore.
I hope not. I didn't like those.
What are their other? Don't they play another Monday night game?
Yes. So they've got their next one will be Sunday Night Football against the Texans in about a month. That's in Houston, I think.
I would. Oh, okay, so not then.
Yeah, and then they've got Packers on Thursday Night Football in December.
I can definitely see it being that game.
And then they've got 49ers, but that's on the road. 49ers on Sunday Night Football, I think, or Monday Night Football. Late.
Yes. So December 5th, Packers at Lions. I can very much see that being the Amazon Prime game.
Yeah. Yeah. Little color rush, throwback color rush Thursday game used to be always color rush. Remember that? Yeah, that's probably and who knows? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that Bills game gets flexed into prime time either.
That all depends on the Bills at this point.
I mean, they were undefeated coming into this week. I think they're going to be solid. I mean, I think they're going to own that division by the looks of it right now. Maybe the Jets contend for it, but
We'll see.
Would you say that? Would you say the Vikings own the North right now?
let's roll the halftime capsules. I'm just kidding. No, that's tough. I mean, you guys want to touch on that a little bit? Do you guys
I was
think
just
that
making I was just making a counterpoint to yeah, the Bills look good right now, but
that's true?
as annoying as it is, I do think the Jets will figure it out. Dolphins are done, Pats are done, so it's between the Bills and the Jets. But yeah, the Bills run defense is clearly a bit of a concern.
Yeah. Well, they lost Von Miller. Did you guys see that? Out for 4 games.
dude, yeah.
But lay off the
So,
PEDs.
yeah. Well, I don't know if it was the PEDs.
Thought it was the roids. Wasn't it the roids?
I don't think so. It says he violated the conduct policy.
Not the
Parked in the
substance
wrong
of
parking
policies.
space?
So, did he maybe lay hands on somebody?
Well, we don't want to go out accusing things now, do we?
It depends on
It's
what
a
that somebody
question.
said.
It was a question. It was a question.
Why do we jump right to that, though? Come on.
Well, he did have files charged against him, or
had some
charges filed
history.
against him. So
Oh, he's got a pass.
yeah, he did. That wasn't just. I didn't just pull that out of nowhere. He's got he's got a questionable history of this stuff.
Let's roll the halftime capsules.
Beep 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 beep.
Here we are, shareholders. Halftime, 21-7 Lions. Wow. Got off to a really hot start, getting it done on the ground. And I like what they're doing on first down, second down, throwing them short while those guys are running, hitting them in stride, letting Amon-Ra and the crew run with it, getting Sammy Laporta involved as well. Like what we're seeing. Defense going to need to lock down here in the second half. They're going to hit DK Metcalf, and you know Tyler Lockett will rear his ugly head. He always does. Got to shut those guys down, which means Aiden's got to get to the quarterback, which means we're going to need some help on the other side of Aiden. Other than that, I like what we're doing. We've gotten some big sacks and big situations. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I still don't know who the Seattle Seahawks coach is. I want to leave you on that question. Who is that guy? Let's go Lions.
I was so
perfect lead.
confused.
And right at 60 seconds, I might add. Perfectly surmised.
Halftime capsule: Lions 21, Seahawks 7. a lot of good things coming out of the first half, especially on offense. Love the way that we're running downhill. Goff protecting the football, starting 12 of 12. Like to see that. He's had some shaky games to start the season, but had some sneaky athletic plays. He's not known for it. He's struggled a little bit to escape some of the pressure, obviously, but did a good job getting away from pressure, getting rid of the ball, moving the chains. Defense got to double Metcalf or at least give him some help over the top. Davis is doing a good job holding his own, but that's a tall task. DK is a big man. So a little nervous. The Seahawks are moving the ball pretty well. Obviously huge by Campbell to punch that ball out there, get the points off turnover. First time the Seahawks have let up a touchdown off a turnover all year. So glad they got to take advantage. Keep it up on offense. This is where Ben Johnson needs to just stick to what's working, not try to get too fancy, not try to protect the lead. Just keep pounding it, letting Jared get the nice, comfortable throws. Laporta is back. You'd love to see Laporta getting in the mix here. Bottle DK up, stop the ground attack, keep your ground attack going, almost 100 yards on the ground in the first half, and you close this game out. You go into the bye 3-1. Let's go Lions.
Boom.
Smart. Good calls.
Shout out to both of you for mentioning Laporta, too, who had kind of a quiet game, 53 yards, I think, 53 on 4 catches.
He had a good first half is what it was.
Hey, he had that big touchdown in the second half, too, late on a scoring drive, so don't forget that.
Okay, wild night, primetime, football, Monday night. Wild one, a little bit of everything out there.
Did you record this on your pager?
Really strong. 93-yard drive.
I think it's because I took the wrong file.
That was a huge one.
The
Just
compressed
imposing
version.
their will out there. Awashika filling in
There you go.
on the line, doing a pretty good job, at least in the run game.
What the fuck are we listening to?
Not throwing it in
I feel like we're listening to an old call of a
that's the
Yankees
story.
game.
On the other side of the ball, huge tackle by DK. On DK by
Let's
Jack
just
Downs.
skip to the
Definitely
end,
not
where I got
don't
the
let
prediction
CJL
right.
come back. Don't do it. And last second, wild prediction, DK Metcalf throws a punch by the end of the game. He's frustrated.
Now up to bat.
High-level
Derek
analysis.
Jeter. That was you just now. What the hell was that?
Tommy put a filter on it, I think. It's
A coffee
product
filter?
Well, maybe. It did sound a little bit muffled, didn't it? Anyway, BAM's Players of the Week. BAM Player of the Week. Mitch.
I've got the whole offense. I don't care that anyone might think that that's a cop out. I've got the entire offense. Shout outs to Sheik in Glasgow. I know they were rated poorly on PFF, but Sheik stepping in and Glasgow scooting over a spot to play center. I think that's huge. And I don't care how poorly they were rated. Clearly they were doing something right. So I've got the whole offense. Honorable mention, Sheik in Glasgow.
My nominations would be Ben Johnson. A lot of people were dogging him the last couple weeks. He's kind of come out a little rusty. Maybe the league had figured him out. Came and called an absolute gem of a game. Also got to throw Goff on there. Perfect game for him. Plus he catches one. And then, you got to give it to the crew, the game ball guys. They had to keep track of all those game balls, a lot of them given away. And like Ben said, had to go back, find one from the day before to get to Goff. Those things can be anywhere in the mix. Eli Manning knows all about it.
You say perfect game, but not a perfect passer rating. Let's just keep that in mind.
It's perfect. He's perfect.
Isn't that confusing, too? Because the team passer rating is higher than Goff's.
So I saw the qualifiers. I saw this. It was basically like there's 4 qualifiers to get a perfect passer rating. And one of them is, I think, 11.5% of your pass attempts have to result in a touchdown. And it was only 11.1% of his.
Oh, come on.
Yep. Yeah.
What Andrew said.
Yeah. Kind of bogus.
I got Goff and St. Brown's feet. I think a little known fact about that game, that wobbler duck that Goff threw to St. Brown for that touchdown late. Nice adjustment by St. Brown there and to get both feet in bounds. I think that's a little known play there that probably meant more than it may have appeared to. A little bit of A, a little bit of B. I don't know if you guys remember this. Andrew, you know, long time, year 3 of the Lions Share podcast, but there were some games where we couldn't find anybody to nominate, or 2, we would have very clear winners of this. Now it's like, man, it was hard to pick it was hard to pick. There were a lot of impressive plays by both sides of the ball. I guess that's just the process of a team that's, on the incline, on the right trajectory. It's like now, there's actually playmakers at a lot of positions. It's just weird. It's a new position to be in as a Lions fan. So shareholders, vote below. Who do you think won the BAMS Player of the Week? Remember, your S in the BAMS is the shareholders. That is your civic duty to go down there and vote on Spotify. All right, some extra things. How is a horse collar not?
Outro music.
How is a horse collar not applicable in the pocket?
The most protected singular position in all of sports. Turns out you can just snap their neck as long as they're standing in the pocket. Makes no sense at all.
I got up off the couch, threw my hat when that play happened. I was upset.
To establish first point of contact out of bounds.
Huh?
It's a referee joke. No big deal.
Okay. All right. That one went right over my head. Good thing I got clarification on what that was. Yeah, that's going to get changed tomorrow.
It very well should.
NFLPA is already working on that one for sure. If the hip drop tackle is, that's tough to say. If the hip drop tackle is removed from the game, then how is horse collar not a thing in the pocket? How about Aiden trying to hide on defense there, and the refs thought he was injured, blowing his cover?
I mean, was that the exact same thing as when he got the pick on Fields?
So he tried to do that. I blew his cover, but that's like standing there is one thing. That's just kind of like too little league for me to like go down and slide onto your knees. That's a little too far in my opinion.
That's what I love about this head coach, this coaching staff. No other team's going to do that.
Let them be who they are. Also, did they get another timeout called on him when Anzarike faked an injury?
Yeah, because the training staff started to run onto the field. So it's like, I think because the Seahawks had an injury too, right? And so
Geno.
Well, yeah.
From that hit, Geno got slammed, and then
refs are just making stuff up.
Yeah, Anzarike kind of got tugged at by the Seahawks lineman, rightfully so. Yeah. And then he flopped of the century, and then they had a timeout forcibly taken from them, like a knife point or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there was crimes committed last night in Ford Field, and they should be investigated. There were a lot of questionable things in there. Just lucky to be fortunate enough to be on the winning side of things there. And then the snapping of the ball for the Seahawks at 0 on the play clock, and Geno Smith somehow grabs it. Yeah, that was just funny. Mike McDonald there, that was a dumb face from him right there. I don't know how you're not calling a timeout there. Probably trying to save him, obviously, but dang. And then who dropped the Kyle Brandt angry runs into the chat here? Minute 8? The 8-minute mark? Mitch, is this you?
You should. That's so. Alluding to what Andrew said about Kyle Brandt, he has like an angry run scepter that he awards
on your TV and have a listen to how it sounds.
Just listen to this.
Love this.
Hang on, I might have to crank the volume on this.
I mean, you can hear it. Like so. If you're not watching, hold on a minute. If you're not watching, he's gonna replay David Montgomery's run, and you can hear the pop. And as soon as you hear the pop, the whole crowd goes, "Ooh!" It's magical. It's so ridiculous.
I heard somebody describe it as that's football, and that's exactly what it is.
Say that one more time.
I said I heard somebody describe it as like that's football. And, that's exactly what it is.
Exactly. And can we talk about Witherspoon's tackling here? He's lucky he's not dead. What is he doing going in? What is he doing going in with his head at that angle? Mitch, I mean, you're the tackling expert on this program, but what is he doing? Watch this. What are we doing there? His neck could have broke.
I mean, there is a reason that he got pawned. Like, keep your head up, run through the tackle. He literally just went up to whatever. I mean, that's what happens. That's what happens. Nobody wants to focus on tackling.
I'm surprised he got up as quickly as he did. He about died. That's crazy. Let me stop the screen share here. Yeah, folks, that is not the show. We've got much more to come. We've got a little bit more here. We're going to go rapid fire because we're a little over budget here. But want to always remind you to like, follow, subscribe on YouTube. We're getting big on YouTube. We're huge on YouTube. And rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. Get that rating back up. And then follow us on TikTok and Instagram for all the clips that you know and love. We'll be back next Wednesday. We're going to take the bye week off because the weekend is off for the Lions. We are going to take the weekend off. And then we'll be next week. We'll be back next Wednesday for Walkthrough Wednesday versus the Cowboys for a preview of Lions-Cowboys. Let's go into week 5 picks. We're going to do our picks here. Normally we do this on Wednesday, but we're going to do it here because of no show on Wednesday or Sunday. And then we'll be back next Wednesday. So as it stands right now.
I usually don't get to say this. Sorry, Ben. I will not be here next Wednesday, and this is a pre-planned absence. So
that's right.
So love you guys in advance. Okay,
wow,
go.
Yeah. Your PTO approved. Mitch, you're sitting at 36 and 28. I'm right there with you. 36 and 28. It's going to be another one of those years where we are just right there.
We're just going to be flirting with each other, playing tummy sticks, hanging out
all week long, all year long. Andrew, not far behind, 31 and 33, climbing back to 500, my friend.
My stick's a little shorter, but I'm coming for your guys' tummies.
Oh, Tommy, clip that. Oh, did you guys see, before we talk about the picks, Will Levis get hurt yesterday? We might have to cancel Will Levis moment of the week. His shoulder is hurting.
Well, his moment was definitely him walking into the tent.
Oh, did you see him at the bench? On the bench?
Yeah, the bench. He made a real Mike McDonald face.
I haven't seen it.
I'm talking tears, my friend.
I'm gonna have to go look it
in
up.
front of me. Devontae Adams is having a fallout in Sin City. Mitch, he's been pushing for it in the off season, or not in the off season, but off the record here.
In this show, before this show.
Yes.
I mean,
words.
They're reportedly the Raiders are open to second round and some compensation. Do we need help sorely on the defensive edge? Yes, we do. Does Devontae Adams take this offense to an unforeseen level? Yes, he does. Tim Patrick has stepped in beautifully as kind of the veteran route runner, blocker, sure-handed guy. Like, I think we're going to see more and more Tim Patrick. But for a second rounder, if to me you can give up a second rounder and a few $1 million, that signals we're ready to win this thing right now. We're going to get a ring this year. It's one of those things that, like, usually I am not about. I think if you go back and listen to some of the episodes, I'm not about the big splashy moves. I would not be upset about this at all.
And, you don't even forget the edge. You don't even need a defense. If you've got Devontae Adams, you're scoring every drive. Who needs a defense then?
Best defense is good offense.
Comes the basketball reference. Only one ball out there.
Yeah.
And Devontae's kind of the drama queen, but the throw me the ball.
I know. He doesn't have a ring. He doesn't. That's tough. I think you definitely kick the tires on it though. That's something you consider. They better be having meetings about that right now, evaluating the pros and cons. I need a list from Brad and the team there. All right, let's move over to the spreadsheet. Let's share the screen. Why I've never shared the screen before on this, doesn't it makes me wonder. Let's start with Prime. Let's start with the Prime game of the week. Thursday, you got the Bucks taking on the Falcons in an NFC South battle on Amazon Prime, and I'm going to take the Falcons in this one, but I think this is going to be a really solid Thursday night game.
Ben, I'm with you. Something about it. I don't know. It just feels like it's the fact that it's in Atlanta that makes me go with the Falcons. If it was in Tampa Bay, I'd go Tampa Bay, but I like the Falcons in this one.
Yeah, I got to fade you guys. I know the Falcons need a win. This will probably be egg in my face, but Baker looked so good last week. I'm going with them on his performance from last week. Takes us to a London town. The Jets taking on the Vikings. Are the Jets considered the away team here? Vikings got the nod being home. Ben, hit him with the stat.
Minnesota 3-0 in the UK.
And with that being said, I'll take the Vikings.
I'm with you. Vikings. I mean, they just look so hot right now. The Jets offense just has not figured it out. Garrett Wilson is non-existent. They just don't know how to use. They don't know how to use their players the right way. So Nathaniel Hackett doing a really, really, really job.
You know what? I had Vikings here, and I don't know why. I just got an itch. I got a little itch in my ear. I'm gonna take the Jets here, overseas.
It's really dumb.
Call the Jets a cowbell.
I think the Vikings return home, and they leave their offense in the UK. Sam Darnold, no more. Bears at home versus the Carolina Stinky Panthers. Andy Dalton and the team there. Chicago coming in at 4-point favorite. It's going to be a windy one in this one. Caleb Williams and the boys going to get out there and win it, though, with that defense. I think that the Bears ride a defense, and we might see a low-scoring one in this one, and the Bears ultimately get a win here at home.
I think the Panthers get it done. I think Andy Dalton it's going to be kind of an ugly game, it feels like, but for some reason it just feels like the Daltons find a way. And I just like when the Bears lose. I like when the Bears lose. I like when Caleb Williams just looks like he's just all pouty out there and shoulder shruggy, and I just want the Bears to lose all the time.
Give me the second NFC North team of the week. I would say if this game was in Carolina, I'm taking the Panthers. With this game being in Chicago, give me the Bears. The offense looks good enough, and the defense looks pretty good. This is probably my game of the week. I really want to see this matchup. Ravens taking on the Bengals in Cincinnati. Anything notable here? 2.5 point spread, not really in Baltimore's favor. I'm going to take the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson is on a mission right now.
I'm with Andrew. I've got Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Bengals can't stop a nosebleed on defense right now. I like the Ravens.
Ravens. Bengals seem like they need this one though, so could be a weird one.
I agree.
AFC East battle here. Patriots and the Dolphins. Who wants it more kind of game. I've got the Patriots written down. I don't feel great about it though.
All right, Patriots. The Dolphins are just in disarray. NFL GMs go
Disarray.
Go invest in a backup quarterback. This is a note to everyone. I like Patriots over Dolphins.
I am with you guys. This is a pathetic showing from the Dolphins. You can't sell Tyreek, I told you guys, on fantasy for a pack of gum right now. This might be the return of the WFC game of the week.
Ooh, we have not been doing that, but we certainly need to get back into it. I would say that probably goes to Panthers-Bears, though.
No,
It's right up there.
It's probably a pick 'em. It's probably
Bears-
just a pick 'em.
The Bears defense has been exciting. Come on now. They've had punt blocks.
What's the bold the outlines around these?
I just I feel like we don't commonly all sync up on 6 games. Like I just want to call out like all 3 of us in unison on 6 games feels like a lot for us.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. At first, I thought you were going to mark the ones that you were going to lead us in, but that's not apparent.
No. I just thought it was interesting. That's kind of, especially because now we have buys, so it's like as a percentage of total games, it's what 40% of the games we're all in agreement on.
Yeah, 6 of
Yeah.
14.
A lot.
Yeah. I don't know who's up now.
I'll take it. Cleveland heading into Washington, taking on the Commanders. Washington looking red hot right now, and I'm going to stick with them.
Samesies.
Commanders. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Commanders.
Commanders.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels looks hot.
Danders.
Colts. Jaguars. This is an NFC, AFC South battle. I can't get the divisions. I can't get the conferences right. I can't get anything right. I'm hoping I'm going to get this pick right. I'm going to take the Jaguars in a rain fest, perhaps.
I've got the Colts right now. I put a note in here with your guys' approval. Ben, you said we could change this later because we're predicting these. I think
Yes.
I like the Colts as long as Flacco starts. If Flacco doesn't start, I like the Jags. But if Flacco starts, I like the Colts. And I know we kind of talked about it. If Colts win and it's ugly, I would not be surprised if we saw Doug Peterson make exit stage left.
I
they gotta have
100%
this.
agree. And that is exactly why I'm taking the Jags. This is a coach for your game or coach for your career type of game here. And it just feels like something, kind of like how the Bengals have to have something go right. It feels like now is the time for the Jags.
Ooh, Ben, we have a debate here.
Yeah.
Folks, Andrew is unconvinced. Texans at Bills. I'm sorry. Bills at Texans. I'm sorry. Bills at Texans in the Dome. Houston, 1.5 point favorites. Point total, 46.5. Andrew doesn't know who he wants to pick. I have the Bills. Ben has the Texans.
I have the Texans for a couple reasons. One, they're at home. Bills. If this game was flip flopped, I would take the Bills at home, but it's in Houston, so I'm gonna take Houston, and I think the Bills after their loss last week, they struggle after a loss. I'll take the Texans. C.J. Stroud and that team. Stephon Diggs revenge game. Diggs might go for 200. Von Miller also out.
Okay, so I will say, and this kind of plays into my hands up. The Bills' weakness right now is run defense. We just saw it, right? Like the Ravens just diced them up, diced, fish fillet. What though have the Texans been good at this year, Ben?
Well, not running the ball, but this is an opportunity for them.
So the Bills' biggest weakness is the Texans' weakness, and Joe Mixon might still be out. So for me, if Joe Mixon was playing, I'd probably lean Texans, but the Texans do not look like they did last year. I think Bills look hot. Josh Allen looks good. I think they're going to be hungry. They just got embarrassed in prime time. I don't know. Something about this just feels like Bills are going to start 4-1. They're coming out hot. The Texans don't feel like the team that they did last year.
Andrew?
I agree with you there. The
mute
Texans
monster.
do not feel like the same team from last year.
They just feel off. Like it's like such high expectations, and it's like Stroud hasn't looked incredible. The
It's like their
offensive line
defense
is
hasn't
struggling.
showed up either.
Defense hasn't looked good, and like the Bills are putting up James Cook and Josh Allen right now are on fire.
Yeah, but then
That's
you
when-
do have the Diggs revenge game, which is a big factor here. Diggs has found himself a way to get in the end zone several times. Let's go ahead and get that one in the charts, boys. Mitchell, you sold me. Give me the Bills.
I feel great.
Unbelievable.
I feel good about this.
I thought you were riding with me, man. I thought we were together on that one.
Oh, we got to take paths here.
Yep. Oh, I've got the Bernox in this one.
Broncos at home versus the Raiders. The Raiders in shambles. Antonio Pierce doesn't know how to lead a team, or does he? They got a win last week, but barely. So I think there's just too much drama in Vegas especially with the Devontae news. So I'll take the Broncos. I don't love it though. Don't love it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Bernox here is what I've got down. The Raiders feel like they're a bit of a mess right now. I don't know. I think if the Raiders have a bad season, the Antonio Pierce experiment might be over. He'll get at least one more year, but doesn't feel good in Vegas right now.
I disagree. I agree that it's not feeling great. I disagree on your guys' picks. I'm going to take the Raiders here. It's not super far of a travel for them. Broncos are coming off a very ugly win. It's over Aaron Rodgers, albeit, but ugly win. I just feel something on the Raiders here. Give me them. And
Right.
After that one, that'll take us to the Cardinals heading into San Fran, taking on the 49ers. This looks like our biggest spread of the week. San Fran 7.5 point favorites in this one, and I'm going to stick with the odds makers, giving the 49ers.
Yep, I like the 49ers. I like the over in this 50.5. I feel like this is gonna be a fun one. I feel like that we're gonna see the Cardinals that we saw against the Rams. I think it's gonna be a fun game, but I like the 49ers. Debo's coming back.
I've got the 49ers. Packers heading over to LA to play the Rams. The Rams beat up still. They're struggling. They've got a tough schedule. Not a lot of things going right for the Rams. I think their time comes, but it's not this week. Give me the Packers in that one.
Packers.
That is right, folks. You heard us right. Give me the 4th NFC North team of the week for a quad win for the division. Give me the Packers. And Hawks getting to stay at home this week. Easy. Getting to stay at home this week, taking on the G-Men. And Ben's got the note in here. This is another big spread, 6.5 points for the Seahawks. Ben's got another note, though, angry Seahawks. And I think he's dead on. I think they're going to be playing angry out there. Give me the Hawks.
Yeah, they got something to prove on defense for sure. The Lions just put it to them, so I think the Seahawks win, and I think they do a good job of bottling up Daniel Jones. It's just going to be a Malik Neighbors as much as possible, but not going to be a lot to speak for from the Giants on offense.
Yeah, Seahawks are going to be angry in this one. They've got to impose their will. They're going to be taking out their anger on the Giants. I think this is my lock of the week. Give me the Seahawks. That moves us into Sunday Night Football. Really solid matchup here. America's team taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been hot but lost one there. I think, everybody knows that Tomlin doesn't lose 2 in a row. I just don't see it happening against Dallas with a beat-up team right now. Micah Parsons hurt, among others out there. The Cowboys are kind of in shambles right now, having kind of a mid-season slump. Unlike them, just kidding, they always have these slumps. I think they continue to struggle. Give me the Steelers, black and yellow, baby.
I wish I wasn't doing this. It just, for some reason, it just feels like the Cowboys aren't going to lose. I don't know why, other than just like, it feels like they're going to win. Like Dak is going to have a good game. CeeDee Lamb's going to have a good game. But I'm starting to think more and more that the fact that the Cowboys have a sumo wrestler for their starting running back is turned into a bit of a problem.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Mike McCarthy there for a minute.
No. Not the sumo coach. I'll take the Cowboys, but I feel kind of ick about it.
Yeah, that's gonna make me sick to hear, Mitchell. Ben, I want you to know everything that went into my pick was Tomlin doesn't lose twice, so I got that directly from you, and they're at home. That's an easy Steelers choice, which rolls us into, surprise, surprise, the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football in Arrowhead, taking on the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to take the Chiefs. This is going to be Collinsworth's going to have his chapstick out. He's going to be talkative all night long. I can't wait for this game. It's not
Monday Night
Collinsworth,
Football.
is it? Didn't think so.
No.
Yep. He's still going to be at home doing all that same thing, though. I hate that guy.
I don't eat Chiefs. I got the Chiefs.
All right, I'll join you guys. I'll ride with you. I was
I put
debating
the
on
box
this one.
up because I put the box up because I was like, how's he going to react? I feel like I'm in his head.
I think if this was like a 1:00 game, I'd take the Saints. But primetime in Kansas City, it's just like the refs are going to be all for the Chiefs in that one. I just don't see them losing. I hate to say it, but Chiefs. That's your week number 5. No Lions in there. It's our first week of the year with buys. Lions have the early bye. A couple other teams do. So 14 games this week. We'll have a condensed schedule for the next 10 weeks, I think, of buys. I think we have 10 weeks of buys. So it's kind of unfortunate for you red zoners out there, but we'll have a shorter week this week. And we will see you all on Wednesday. It'll be just Andrew and I, a little old school episode. Mitch, safe travels to your destination there. We won't give it away. We don't want to dox you. But safe travels and do good for us out there. Spread the word about the Lions share. Shareholders, do the same. Spread the word. Let's go Lions. 3-1 of the bye. We are happy. If you want to break the season up into quarters, 3-1 is what you want to do every single quarter. That'll get you a playoff appearance. So let's go Lions. Let's go Tigers. 1-0 against the Houston Texans. Wow, you can tell this is a football podcast. Tommy cut that. 1-0 in their series against the Astros. Let's go Tigers. Let's go Lions. We'll see you all next week.
Meow.